Welcome everyone. Today we will try to solve this particular coding challenge that we have got from the Women Who Code Front-End Friday chapter, Front-End Friday Season 2. In this challenge, we have got a mobile design and at the same time, we have a desktop design as well. And this link is from the Figma. So we will first try to solve it in the mobile first pattern. So we will first create the design for the mobile and then based on the pixel size, we will try to make this challenge working for the desktop version as well. So to start with, we have this boilerplate code from the front-end mentor. As we have seen, Maria has already shared how we need to register for this challenge, get the boilerplate code. So accordingly, I have registered myself for front-end mentor, and then here I am getting the option for downloading the starter files. So now these starter files I have already downloaded, and now in my Visual Studio Code, I have opened the corresponding folder. And in this folder, as we can see, we have the index.html file, the data.json file, which we have the four options that we have seen over here. But currently in this video, I will not put the data dynamically, rather I will be using the hard-coded data. Over here in this file, in the boilerplate code, we can also see they have used the style attributes over here. But for the sake of usage, I will create a separate style.css file and I will link it into this index.html file. This solution is very particularly to the way I have done this application. There are 1,000 ways more to do this challenge. So let's begin. So to start with this application, what I will be doing is that I have already running my code in the port 5500 over here, as you can see, with the user live server. This is an extension that is available in the Visual Studio Code itself. So as of now, I'm closing this as we will no longer need it. Another important thing to note is that this particular application has used a particular font from the Google, which is known as Hankin Grotesque, and I will be using this particular embed code option to use this in our current project. So first I will be copying this code and now I will be pasting it over here. Yes. And as I already mentioned, I will be using a separate style.css file for this entire project. So over here, I will create one. Also, we need to embed this file in our application over here. CSS, and I will be using it with the relation equals to style sheet. So now whatever styles we will be using in this particular HTML file will also get reflected in our this project over here, and we will be doing. So for the first thing, I will no longer be using these styles, so I'm just removing it as of now. Instead, I will be putting them into my style.css file. Next, to start with the very basics of what is there in this application. First, what I will try to do is I will try to split the current body that is being provided over here in the boilerplate code into the certain HTML tags, specifically the divs part. So let's begin over here. So first, this entire application, this entire screen, I will be putting into a class named container. Currently, I will not be writing the CSS file. Once the HTML is done, then we will start implementing the CSS files over there. So in this entire container, I have two broad sections. One is the result section and one is the summary section. So let's start with the result section first. In this result section, we can see we have a header which says your result. Then we have a circle within which we have the result marks and the result full marks. Then we have another that is the grade, and then another message which says that your performance exceeds. So let's now split it up over here in the code based on the text that we already have. So in the result header, we will be putting this your result. And then we will create a class called circle. Inside that circle, I will be having the result marks where we can put 76. And after that, I can make another p tag which says result dash full dash marks. And inside that, I will be writing of 100. So now this part is done. Next, I have beside this div, which we have covered the circle, now we will work on these two text. One is the greet and another is the message. And in the next one, we will be doing the message. In the message, we will be putting this text. And this grid is also done. Okay. So now if we see how much we have arrived, we have just covered the first part. Now let's start working on the summary part as well. In the summary, I will just, for the sake of the use, in the summary section, we have another header which says summary-header, the class name that I have been using. This is summary. And next, whatever is the entire content, I will put it into a class named summary details. And in the summary details, what we will be using is the entire each of these portion, that is the image, the text reaction, 80 and out of 100. So currently I will make this class as red summary. Inside the red summary, we will be having another one which says the summary info. Inside the summary info, I will be only having the image and the text. So this image we will be taking up from the assets folder that is already there given in the boilerplate code. Currently I am not using the alt, but it's always a best practice to use it. In the next part, we will be having the text reaction. So for extra enhancement of the text, I am using the class redInfo, and then I will be using as the reaction. So what we will be doing next is that we have another part that is 80 out of 100, this part of the text. And over here, what I will be doing is I will just minimize the summary info, and then I will be having the class marks, which has 80. And then I will be using a span. In the span, I will give the class name as full marks. And then it says out of 100. So this is what is one of the reaction div that we have created. So I will be replicating it 3 more times. And accordingly, I will be changing the texts and the file names. Okay. So what next is we have this yellow summary. In the reaction, we will have the image from memory. Here the text changes to memory. Full marks obtained is 92 out of 100. And over here, I have one yellow info. After yellow summary, I have this green. Here also it is green. Next in the reaction, it is about verbal. The text says verbal. Marks obtained is 61 out of 100. Another I have is the blue one, the blue summary. Here the reaction is, the image is visual. This one will turn to blue. Over here it is another visual, and the marks obtained is 73. So I'm just getting rid of this now. Now we are left with only one thing, which says the button. And this button I will be putting into the summary section itself. For the sake of use, I am just minimizing these divs so that we get to know that where actually our summary is getting finished. And over here, I will have a button tag now, which says continue. So now if we see the text over here, it is to some extent sorted over here. Now let's start with the CSS files. For this particular challenge, I haven't used any third-party libraries like Tailwind or Bootstrap. I have tried to implement this with the very basic CSS that we are aware of. So now what we will be doing one by one, we will start using this CSS. So over here, as we see that the attribution is actually for the content over here, that is challenged by front-end vendor coded by the name. So for that styling, that attribution content is mentioned over there. So what I will start with is, for this entire project, I will be using the box sizing as the border box to ensure that we are correct when we are using the padding and the margins over here, and the font family. So as per the text, the font family will be Hanken Grotex, and if not available, then I will be using sans serif over there. Okay. Now, as we remember that we started this entire thing with putting it into a container. So let's start by putting some styles for the container. Over here, currently, as I mentioned, I am following the mobile first approach. I will try to first implement the solution for the mobile, and then we will expand it for the desktop view. So for doing that, what I have been starting with is that this, I will try to put it into a flex, the entire content, that is the result and the summary, and they will be aligned in the column, they will be in the center, and the aligned in the center. So for that, what I am using is display flex, flex direction column, align item center, and justifying the content to center. If we can see, we will see over here, this entire content has now come to the center of the screen. Next, let's start with the CSS for the result container. That is the one that we have over here, which has this entire header, the marks, the message, and the final one. So for this result, what we can do is that we will again need to align it into the display flex I will be using. We'll have the justify content as the center. Sorry, we may not need it because we are already in the justified content center. So we will use the flex direction as column and we will align the items in the center. Now, for this particular design, if we see, we have a linear gradient over here. And for that linear gradient, we will just copy it from here and from Figma and we will paste it over here. So we will get the linear gradient as well. And for the rest of the properties, we will be using this. So the border radius comes to 32 pixels as of now I will be using. The basic font color over here is white. We will be using a padding of 2 rem so that we get a nice padding inside the div itself. And the width and the height I will be using this. Width I will put 368 pixels and the height is 512 pixels. And let's see what we have got over here. This is something. It's close, but not yet. Okay. Now, let's start with the marks over here. Or we can start with the header as well, if we go on sort. So inside this, we have this result header. So let's add some styling to this result header. And see how it comes. Inside the result header, as per the design, we see we have a color which says light blue. So the first thing we will be using the color over here for the text. After that, the font weight over here is 700 as we can see, and also the font size is 18 pixels for the mobile. So I will be using the same over here. The font weight to 700 and the font size to 18 pixels. Since we have already imported the font family Hanken Grotex, this font weight and font size, we can use it from the link. And let's see how it looks. Here it is. Next we have the result.marks. So over here we will be using this one, this marks. And next, over here in the result.marks, the one that we will be using includes in this group, we will go a bit deep inside and we will see what are the details over there. So if we see for this, we have it over here. That is 700. The font weight is 800 over here. And we have a color as well. So we'll go with the font size, which says 56 pixels. Font weight, which says 800. And I will use a line height of 0. After that, we have the result full marks over here. And in the result full marks, if we see how it is being there, it's the same, which says the font size of 16 pixel, font weight of 700, and there is the color as well, which is the same light blue. So I will just copy it from here. and currently I will be using the line height of 0. And let's see. Yes, we have got it to some extent, but yes, we still need to work on it. Next, we will try to cover the circle, the one that we have over here. I will put it over here so that we maintain the order in which we are working. So for this particular circle, we will be using this particular design over here. So first we will copy the gradient. And since we are now making a circle, so we will use the border radius of 50%. Our height and width as mentioned in the design is 140 pixel. So we will keep it the same. And then whatever is the text content inside it, we will put it as text align center. And now we have got to some extent a text like that. Okay, next we will start working on this greet. So over here, the next we have is the greet and the message left. So we will start with greet next. So for this text, if we see it's under group 19, we can get all the details from here itself. Font size is 24 pixels. The font weight is 700. And the color is white. Sorry, this will be white. Yes, one thing I missed is the line height as well. The line height says 31.27 pixels. Yes. One thing we can notice that there is something missing in between the grade and this particular the circle. So for that, what I have been using is margin top of 3 rem, so that we can create a bit of gap between the circle and also the text. Now it looks a bit better. And the final one that we have over here is the message. So in this message, let's see what are the inbuilt styles mentioned in Figma. Yes, this is the one that we have over here. We can itself also copy it and remove the extra ones. Like we will not need the font family anymore because we have already given it over there. And the latest spacing and text align center also, we won't need it. And let's see how it looks. Yes, a bit better now. But yes, we need to work on the color of the text, which is the over here. And yes, one thing I mixed is the text align center. I think by mistake, I have deleted it while removing the line space. Yes. So I think we now have come to the result section. Next, we have the summary. So let's continue. So similarly, we will be doing it for the summary. We will try to fill up each and every class that we have defined over here. The first one says summary. And let's see what are the details over here. So for this summary, we will start with a display flex. The same we did for results. Flex direction goes column. And the align items is flex start, because we see everything is a bit left aligned over here. And then we have a box shadow as well, which we will be using a bit later. And then we want to put the width, which is the 100%. We will be using a padding inline. That is the padding left and padding right. Together we can use padding inline, which is a 1.5 rem that I will be using. Justify content is center, and that's what we will be using. Now this over here, we can see it's coming over here. I think I missed something. Okay. But fine, we will try to fix it later about where it got wrong. As of now, I will keep it. Next, we will start working on the summary header. Inside the summary header, we'll see how is the style being defined. It's the same. So we will just copy and paste it and remove the extra ones. Okay. One thing I forgot to mention at the very beginning. I now understand where it went wrong. We are now working on the mobile first. But before this, we were watching the entire content on the desktop window. That's why this design was a bit different. So now we understand that we didn't do anything in the summary wrong, but it's like this. Okay, let's continue. Next, we have the summary details class. In the summary details class, we will be having certain details over here. Okay, so what we will be, we have the width, which will be the 315 pixel that I will be using, and a height of 56 pixels. Next, a border radius of 12 pixels that we have got over here. It's a 12 pixels, 315 pixel width, height. These are the ones that I am currently using. Now, over here, if we see for the summary details part, which have the display of flex, but it's a flex direction row. So here I will be using display flex, flex direction row. The align and justify content will be space between. This time, because we are working on the row, the items will be aligned in the center. And I have used a margin bottom of 1 rem so that we have a gap between two details. 1 rem and a padding inline of 1 rem as well. And over here, if we see, we have one more class, that is the red summary. So for this, what we will be doing is that we will use this color. Okay, maybe I haven't copied it. No. Sorry, it's 6F5. Yes. And the font weight that we will be following in this particular div section is bold. Now if we see that yes, to some extent it works, but we still need to work on the colors of this particular thing. Now, first let's work on the reaction color. And for that reaction color, we have a class over here which says red info. Let's fill it up first so that we get the I first want to work on this one, which has this color copy. Red info, and then we will be working on this image as well. That is the summary info. Inside the summary info, what we have is a display flex. I'm no longer using flex direction row because that's by default. And between the image and the text, I'm putting a gap of 0.5 rem. And let's now see how it looks. Yes. So now we need to replicate the style for each of this. So things have got now a bit better. Let's see which is the next one that we need to. Okay. Now we will be working on this marks and this full marks class. Let's work on it. For the marks, okay. I need to put a space over here for this full marks. We will be using the color gray. And let's see how it looks now. Yes, I don't think we need to use any specific class for the marks because it's anyways working pretty. But we can still use something later to bring this space. Yes. So what I will try to do is I will remove this class marks, as we won't be needing it. Okay. Now let's repeat the next for the memory, verbal, and visual. And for that, as we know, we will be adding two more classes. One is the yellow summary, yellow info, green summary, green info, blue summary, and blue info. So let's continue. So I will just copy it and I will paste it to replicate. So this is the blue summary with the blue info. And for that, what we will be using is the color, which is, let's see what we have over there. Okay, we can complete with the yellow as well first. Copy. I think I'm getting the linear gradient one over here. We can get the exact color as well. This is the color for yellow info. And the yellow background color, I will be using this. And let's see if it works. Yes, it works. But one thing more I have to add is I need to add a space over here after each mark so that we get a space over there. And let's see, yes, our reaction and memory is done. And now we will be working with the green. This is the green summary and this is the green info. For the green summary, if we see, we have this color. I don't know why it's not. It's for some reason it's not working, so I will be using the color as this. And the font weight is bold. And for the green text, we have this color. Let's see, yes, now the green is also sorted. And finally, we have the blue one. So for the blue, sorry, this is the blue one. So I will be using this color over there. Yes, and now for the blue background color, I will be using this. And let's now check how it works. Yes, so the summary section is done to some extent. Now we have to work on is the button, that is the continue button. And now let's see how we work for that. So here we have this continue. And then let's see how it has been styled. Over here we can see we have the width, height. This is the group. This is the continue text. We have the text details as well. So let's start with the layout first. So for this, I will be using this. I am no longer using the top and the left. I will only be working on the width and the height. And after that, we will go to the continue text as well. Over here, if we see, we can copy this entire thing. And then we don't need the font family. We have the font size 18. We have the font weight 700. We have this, we will be using the color of white as we have seen on there. And we will put a border radius as well to the button. Border radius of around 4 rem. I am using it over here. And I am not using any border for the button. So I will just nullify it with border none. And then let's see how it looks. Yes, but there is still something missing. That is, we are missing the background color of it, and the text should be in the center as well. Okay, so the text align, it should be center. The background color is, let's see, what's the color in the background? Dark navy. Yes, the background color is also now set. I know this seems a bit irritating, but I have the habit of using the formatter very often. So yes, now we can see that we can use a bit of margin at the top and the bottom to bring some space over here. So for that, what I will be doing is I will add a margin top of 1 rem and a margin bottom of 2 rem. Yes. So I think we are almost done with the design for the mobile, and let's see how it goes. And just before that, I'll just verify we don't miss anything over here. We have used whatever we have given. Okay, now that we are almost done with the design for the front mobile version, now we will start working on the design for the desktop version as well. And the basic difference that we see over here is that it's no longer the flex direction is column, but here we have the flex direction row in the container as well. And then let's get started with it. For that, I will be using the media queries. And the media queries is about the size. When the screen size is a minimum width of 768 pixel is what I'm using. Media only screen, and the minimum width that I have been using over here is 768 pixel. And now over here, what we will be doing is we will be only updating the classes that differs in its direction in the mobile and the desktop version. Like for first, we will start with the container. Over here, everything is perfect except that we now have it in a row version and no longer column. So first we will be using for the container, the flex direction will turn to a row. And now let's see how it goes. So over here in the mobile, we can see it's working perfect. And over here, now we can see that we have it in the row. So for the rest of the video, I will keep it over here in this way so that we can see the changes. Okay. Now, next we have some changes in the size of the box. Like for this result as well, for our desktop view, we have certain changes in the height and the width. If we see, this is your result, this is the one. Over here we see it is now 368 pixel and the height is 512 pixel. Okay, here I noticed that I missed one size over here. So for this result, we don't have to do anything because it's the same in both the directions. Now, next comes the result header, that is your result. And for this, we can see now the font size is 24 pixel. But previously, we used a font size of 18 pixels. So what we will be doing is we will only be changing the font size and the rest we will keep it as it is. So I will just remove this too. And we'll change this to 24 pixel. Okay. After this, let's come to the circle. So now we are done with the container, we are done with the result, we are done with the result header. Next is the circle. In the circle, if we see, now it says a width and a height of 200 pixel. Initially, it was only 140 pixel. Rest everything is same. So what I will be working on now is the circle. Which says a height of 200 pixel and a width of 200 pixel as well. And if we see how it is going, yes, it's changing a bit. Okay, after the circle, now we have the result marks. In the result marks, if we see, that is this text of 76, then if I go further, over here it sees that we have the font size of 72 pixel. Initially it was 56 pixel. I will just change over here to 72 pixel as well. I think in the mobile it was 56. Yes, which I mixed over here. So now the result marks is having a font size of 72 pixel with the line height of 72 pixel as well. So over here, font size of 72 pixels and a line height of 72 pixels as well. And yes, now it goes a bit better. But I have one doubt still. I think if I change it to 0, yes. So currently I will not use the line height at all over here or inside this one as well. I'll keep it 0 as it was before. Okay. So after result full marks, now I have the result marks for this one as well. And over here also I can see there is a slight change in the font size only. So if I copy this one and get down to over here, I can change only to 18 pixels and I don't need the rest of them. After that, we have the greet message and the message as well. Over here, if you see it, all that differs is the text size. So for greet, the font size changes to 32 pixels, and for message, the font size changes to 18 pixels. If you see over here, I think it's 18 only. Yes, right. So let's see how it's over here. Yeah, a bit better now. After this, we will continue with the rest. So the greet is done, the message is done, and then we will start with the summary section. So in the summary section, if we see, over here we see it's a 736 pixel, and this width is 368. So the remaining width eventually is 368 pixel. So now we will be doing the set the height and width for summary, which is actually a width of 368 pixels. As I said, it's together equals to 712, so each is 368. The height, as usual, is 512 pixel, as in the design. And now over here, for this particular design, I will be putting a border radius only to the corners on the right, that is top right and bottom right. And for that, I will be using the border top right radius of 1 rem, and then border bottom right radius of another 1 rem. And in this entire summary, this time I will be giving a padding of 2 rem as well. Now, next we will be seeing how the summary header size changes, the font size especially. And here it is now 24 pixel, as I can see over here. It's 24 pixels. Next we have the summary details width, and here it is, I'll put it about 288 pixels. We will just see how it was before. We have done with this one. Width was 315 pixels. Now we will be putting a width of 288 pixels with here it is. The width is 288 pixels. Next, we will be going with the color for the continue. Over here, we can see the continue button has a different color in the background. It's no longer dark navy. And so with this continue, we will be getting the width and the height, that is 288 and 272. Sorry, this is this one. Yes, 288 and 56 pixels. So a width of 288 pixels, a height of 56 pixels. We can copy the background over here. The box shadow is being there. And see how it looks. Yes, but still we need to put the background. And this is the background. And now let's see how it looks. Yes, isn't it better now? Only one thing that we are missing over here is this summary should be having a box shadow so that we can get it over here. So we will be adding a box shadow to the summary now. And I will put it over here because we don't need this box shadow ideally in the mobile screen for the mobile view, but here we can put it over here. So yes, this is pretty much, I think, very similar to what we were asked to do. And let's see if we want to do anything more over here. I think we have done. Okay, one thing I can see over here is this message. This message does not match with this one over here. So if we see, this message has a font size of 18 pixels, but a font width of 500. Font width of 500. Yeah, but still I feel yes, but still it goes. This is pretty much the same as that we have over there, and I think I am pretty much done. Thing that I would like to add to the previous solution is that we are padding of 27.75 rem into the result, and this way we can fit this text as the similar to how it looked over here. Another thing that I would like to add just for the design is a bit of padding over here, which says a padding of 1.75 rem. Yes, now it looks a bit more better.